She is the epitome of stupidity, the DNC's new spokesperson. Come together since that's what we do best. Yes, darling. Jasmine Crockett has another interesting opinion. A wedding cake shouldn't have black and white. Jasmine Crockett, the Democrats' latest pick, is making headlines once more because of an old video in which she criticized Florida Representative Byron Donald for getting married to a white lady. Jasmine Crockett was just completely destroyed by Greg Gutfeld on live television. It was utter mayhem with a poisonous edge and razor-sharp wit. Her entire performance was destroyed by Gutfeld, leaving her disoriented and agitated. This was not a cordial discussion. It was a complete public deconstruction that left people speechless. Crockett arrived with prepared remarks and drama for the camera, while Gutfeld arrived with unbridled rage and relentless self-assurance. Instead than merely reacting, the audience burst out laughing and in shock. Social media went viral in a matter of minutes, with videos circulating on all platforms like wildfire. Unfiltered drama dominated the airwaves, and Crockett never even saw the blow coming. If politics ever felt tame before, this moment broke that notion altogether. It was memorable and harsh. In other words, you believe that you were whitewashed because you married a white woman. Isn't that a woke thing? It goes without saying that Crockett is not the only Democrat who opposes interracial marriage. Otherwise, more racist Democrats would have supported this candidate. Greg Gutfeld is not an argumentator. He destroys. He has little need for small conversation, and courteous interactions are non-existent. Like a high-voltage buzzsaw, he cuts through drivel with brutal charm, precision, and sarcasm. Therefore, a furious altercation was inevitable when Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett strode into the stage, with her trademark dramatic flair and voracious appetite for headlines. It struck like a thunderclap when it did. Crockett's second attempt was to exploit house theatrics as her own theatrical act. Her fate was sealed. She entered anticipating a secure sparring session. Gutfeld, however, is not a soft puncher. Truth, timing, and firepower were his weapons. I come to you for no cause at all. Plantation Tyrus. Is there anything she's trying to say? Applause, laughter. I wish my mother had chosen a different father, because we are all drawn into this. For example, if you are going to discuss Black history, at least be aware of it. At least you are aware of it. Please remember to subscribe if you find this analysis entertaining. It's going to get serious. Unarmed, overconfident, and totally outmatched, she marched directly into the lion's den, rather than engaging in a cool debate. Depth and substance have never been Crockett's strong points. She is more like an entertainer disguised as a politician. Her skill is converting outbursts into TikTok gold, drowning out opponents, and using fashionable phrases. Viral onliners, angry outbursts, and chaos pursuing attention have all been part of her career. It's passion to her admirers. To others, it's just a bunch of bullshit masquerading as leadership. However, it comes back to, I'm not. For 45 seconds, some of them said things like, Kamala, you're doing well right now. Those were some of the most stupid things I've ever heard. The thing is this relates to the past. We discussed this earlier. There is never a remedy for them. Merely hearing your stupid ass. Do you wish to discuss agriculture? How about fixing the lottery? Why don't you facilitate employment in manufacturing, agriculture, and equitation for those who wish to enter this nation? Do away with the lottery. Crack it open. In addition, do any of you want to pick cotton? Tell the president, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea. It's so incredibly dumb of her to say. We're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? I'm furious right now. Gutfeld, meanwhile, doesn't waste his breath on noise. When Crockett unleashed her newest act, a concoction of racism baiting, deflection, and rehashed theatrics, he wasn't there to talk policy, because he cuts right through it with sniper-level cynicism, and that cunning smile that shouts, I already know how this ends and you won't like it. His purpose was to ruin the show, and he was quite good at it. Gutfeld created the picture that no one else dared to speak aloud, with scathing wit and deadly accuracy. As a leader, Jasmine Crockett is not serious. She is a living example of a headline maker, a whirlwind of fabricated indignation and meaningless showmanship masquerading as political action. She wants migrants to pick cotton since she is so terrible. We introduce you to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat, who presented this startling case for the necessity for immigration in America. Roll it, Alfred. I thus had to travel the nation, and inform people about the contributions immigrants make to this nation, or the reality that we are an immigrant nation. Correct. Correct. The truth is that none of you are attempting to go farming at this time. All right. I'm lying then. When the wheels come off, lift your hands in the air. You have not finished picking cotton. Yes, we are. We can't find a plantation if you don't pay us enough. She didn't pose inquiries. She was giving remarks that she had practiced. She wasn't standing up for what she believed. She was using dramatic pauses and rehashed punchlines to get applause. And that's the lowest kind of political play you can imagine in Gutfeld's arena. It wasn't a loud takedown. It was not necessary. It was incisive, purposeful, and brimming with restrained contempt. Gutfeld remained silent. He merely raised a mirror. The harsh, meaningless platitudes, obvious hypocrisy, and flimsy reasoning that barely held her act together were what glared back. This was no ordinary altercation. It was a reckoning. Crockett established herself as the self-proclaimed king of mayhem and committees, thrives on fury that goes viral, and is suited for TV outbursts. He revealed every action, phony outburst, and catchphrase used to entice the cameras. It wasn't simply her showmanship that Gutfeld questioned. With icy accuracy and merciless wit, he destroyed them one by one, burning her whole identity in the spotlight. Murder me. As it happens, she is becoming the face of that party. I am aware. I appreciate your show. I'm not sure if this or the opinion on Gutfeld is more widely held. However, a few things. Did you notice that nobody responded when I initially assumed she was doing it for laughs? They had no idea what the devil she was discussing. I was just astounded by her statement when she said, "Oh really? Farming? Yes. It's called eating farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it. And the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. The strange thing, though, is that she most likely thought she had a perfect game when she left that room. And other from 111-year-old Bernie Sanders, discussing oligarchs. I don't believe anyone can stop her from serving as the party's spokesperson. Every contradiction concealed beneath her blazing words was revealed as he sliced right through the tangle of her indignation. She advocates for togetherness at one point. Then she blames anyone who dares to disagree of conspiring to undermine her genius. Gutfeld cut like a surgeon through the act. Crockett has virtually no record. Then the final blow was delivered. Gutfeld continued to make fun of her drama. He thoroughly examined her record and discovered how flimsy it was. Despite all of the clamor, indignation, and eye-catching antics, Crockett's real accomplishments in Congress are hardly noticeable. There were no successes or advancements, only a series of popular videos and self-congratulatory interviews that repeatedly repeated the same old platitudes. Gutfeld revealed the reality underneath the illusion. She is performing, not leading. A brand posing as a politician, mistakenly believing that fame equals influence. Like a participant on reality TV, who is more interested in attention than results. She might get clicks and fan edits for it, but it doesn't help the people she's meant to help. What do you think of this, or should I find someone else? No, I really must do it myself. Indeed. All right. You are all ineligible. Not only that, but I'm upset with Charmaine because he ought to have expelled her. The issue is that we are permitting overt racism in our own culture to go unchecked. It's as if it's not the same thing if a white person is upset by that, as they should be, and they say anything about it. I don't want you on my show, though. If you say that and another brother looks at you and says, "Man, you're wrong for that," leave immediately. Because that's what I'm telling you right now. If I hadn't been on the show, which occasionally happens, and someone was sitting in his chair and he was complaining about black men being here and there and that they shouldn't be, you wouldn't have seen that guy in the next segment. You know what happens when a white woman marries a black man? You're not going to talk about someone I care about or something else like that, so he would have kicked his ass off. That's the issue. Crockett's supporters charged in, filling the air with indignation and justifications, claiming that every criticism sprang from prejudice, misogyny, or fear of her alleged authority. They cried identity politics. Gutfeld, however, was not convinced. With icy surgical accuracy, he cut through their cacophony. He reminded everyone that criticism is a form of accountability rather than cruelty. And perhaps politics was never her stage in the first place, if she can't manage that. The public's reaction was very brutal. In real time, social media exploded. Every feed was overrun with memes. Some repeated the exchange like a championship knockout reel. while another featured Gutfeld standing over a cartoonish Crockett with the remark, "Sit down and learn something." There was no denying the reality. Crockett planned her own demise. No tricks, setups, or traps. She forgot that Gutfeld doesn't debate, and strode into the spotlight, desperate for approval. "He destroys." He responded with facts and sarcasm so keen it could cut steel, while she ducked and flailed. "Indeed, thank you. Okay, okay, put an end to it. But you do have excellent taste, I must admit. All of you have a happy Wednesday." Oh man, all right. It was similar to witnessing someone use glitter to put out a wildfire. Ostentatious, useless, and doomed from the beginning. As soon as they realized this was a catastrophe, they didn't want their names associated with. Even her devoted followers started to turn away. Gutfeld wasn't merely taking down a single tirade. Jasmine Crockett was embodying a whole brand of performance-driven politics, which he was dismantling. He revealed the new generation of MPs, who believe that popular hashtags may take the place of effective leadership, and his humor was so incisive that it commanded attention. Then the last knockout occurred. Gutfeld delivered the decisive blow after dissecting her defenses, making fun of her theatricality, and revealing the falsity of her record. A potent reminder of what true leadership is all about. It's not about making fun of critics or yelling louder. It's about being present, putting in genuine effort, and bringing about genuine change. Not begging for clicks, not chasing stardom. Crockett discovered that if you sacrifice effort for attention, there's someone like Greg Gutfeld lurking in the background, ready to blow your act apart, reveal your strategy, and do it all while grinning and saying, "I told you so." They call Musk a Nazi, and the next thing you know, you have squat stickers on your cars, Jesse. Trump was shot after being referred to as Hitler, a Nazi, and a fascist. Therefore, when we Republicans mock Democrats, I don't really see it happening. The fans are equally important. Not only the leaders are involved, it appears that Democrats are prone to inappropriate behavior. Indeed they are. It's quite easy to program them. I forced you to say that, Greg. This was more than a simple takedown. It was a real-time warning indicator that was flashing. Greg Gutfeld did more than just ruin Jasmine Crockett's performance. For those politicians who are addicted to online adulation, he transformed it into a tutorial. Gutfeld just wrote a strong, sardonic message across their playbook. For anyone who believes that noise equates to impact, or that viral outbursts are considered policy victories. We recognize you. We're not impressed, and we're exhausted. This was not a discussion, let's face it. It was far from it. With Gutfeld storming in with a rack of ribs and a smile that shouted, "Game over," it was the intellectual equivalent of an ambush at a vegan buffet. Using emotion and buzzwords, Crockett attempted to enthrall the audience, but her argument disintegrated more quickly than a paperboat in a storm. The crowd saw it well this time. Just the agonizing silence of secondhand embarrassment, no cheers, no pity. Silence that screams louder than words was what it was. The kind that burns when someone's performance falls apart in front of them. They swore first, and now they want blood. Increasing her outbursts, Jasmine Crockett now claims that throwing hands is the only way Democrats can win elections. "You punch, I believe. You seem to be fine with punching, in my opinion. Ted Cruz is here. It must be really hard to knock this guy over his head, don't you think?" Crockett frantically tried to get better, thrashing around like a robot that had been short-circuited, shouting catchphrases like "voice of the people," "systemic oppression," and the timeless "let me finish." However, every like raindrops on armor line bouncing off Gutfeld's serene sneer. It was similar to witnessing someone shouting at a fire in an attempt to extinguish it. It's simultaneously chaotic, desperate, and humorous. Gutfeld, meanwhile, remained unfazed, calm as a man who had just ordered lunch. He didn't have to yell. His takedown sounded almost kind because it was so neat and steady. "I appreciate your outrage. Hold on while we move you to a caring person." It was mastery, not just victory. Unfazed and in control, he moved with ease amid the confusion. As Crockett's pride broke down on live television, you could just hear elevator music playing in his head. Additionally, the audience was living for it rather than merely watching. Amidst a room full of frail egos, every insult, gut flung fell like explosives. Crockett's alleged moment of power became a front-row lesson on what happens when noise meets reality. As laughter broke out and cameras panned in, she now says she had nothing to do with Abbott's wheelchair. She has, however, before brought up Abbott's wheels. She posted rolling bets around the state in 2022. Abbott is rolling to where? In 2020, Crockett also liked a number of Facebook comments that called Abbott Hot Wheels, according to the Washington Free Beacon. Her followers hurried to keep the debris under control. Think pieces are leaking out overnight, tweets are flying, and smoldering Instagram postings are screaming misogyny. However, none of it was able to repair the harm. It was brutal, but it was done. This was no accident. In real time, it was a meltdown. The Empress wasn't just made public. She was broadcasting live for the world to witness her own downfall. As well as Gutfeld. He had already left, leaving only the pain of complete defeat and stillness. It was all in his face. He knew without a sweat that he had won. This wasn't merely a disagreement. A cultural reckoning took place. Jasmine Crockett wasn't the only person Gutfeld destroyed. He destroyed a whole generation of politicians who confuse outbursts for reality and social media influence for skill. His composure only served to sharpen the punch. He never slammed a desk, yelled, or otherwise showed signs of anger. Each syllable struck with surgical accuracy. Each information struck like a humorously wrapped razor. He wasn't angry, he didn't care, and no insult could cut as deeply as that cold indifference. Crockett held onto her microphone as she stood there anticipating applause that never materialized. Like a poor karaoke act that went on for too long, her performance faded into awkward quiet. She wasn't referring to the wheelchair. So how long will she keep this? Yes. Hurry up, sweetie. You're full of all that jazz, you know that. You guys, I need to triangulate and be serious now, because I'm going to be a senator, I believe AOC said. Someone must be a talking point. Who will it be? Jasmine said, raising her hand. Pardon me, Congresswoman Cortez. I speak jive. What is it, Mommy? She gave her act everything she had. However, it still failed, demonstrating that hashtags don't determine policy, and volume isn't vision. This was no longer left versus right. It was reality versus delusion, substance versus spectacle. Not a single politician was singled out by Gutfeld. He tore off the mask of a whole movement that was contaminating contemporary politics. The emergence of the viral politician, who views Congress as a content studio, views every bill as a clickbait screenplay, and regards every speech as a comedy. The true surprise here is that politics is not reality TV, nor is it a theater. Service, not self-promotion, is the goal. It's about accountability, not practiced indignation. People who mistake influence for involvement will always be found out. Greg Gutfeld will be there, equipped with a razor-sharp sense of humor, ready to cut through the spectacle and finish the program with a single scathing comment. Under the brightest lights and in front of the loudest quiet, Jasmine Crockett had to learn that lesson the toughest manner conceivable.